Hello and welcome to LDN Capital TV with me, Fiona Fox. Later on in tonight's show, we'll be bringing you the first semi-final in the Golden Grapplers tournament as Yorghos faces Garnell, the man who gave Mike Mendoza a concussion on a recent episode of Capital TV. We'll bring you an update on this situation in the London Eye, but first, wild tag team action as the defending champions Hot Property put their titles on the line in a tag team tornado matchup where anything goes.
This is London.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to LDN Capital TV. We have got a full house here tonight in grade, and we are kicking things off big style with a tag team tornado title match where anything goes. Nobody tags in, nobody tags out. All four men are in the ring at once, and there is no disqualification. Fans, this one is going to be absolutely wild. And you can see making their way to the ring the current LDN Tag Team Champions, the team formerly known as Team Sexay, now calling themselves Hot Property, Chris Bothaway and Jamie James. This team, they took several months off here in LDN. They regrouped, they came back, well, I don't like to say better than ever, but they came back, and they are now the LDN Tag Team Champions. Project Future have always got time for the fans, but here tonight they have got just one thing on their minds, and that is reclaiming the LDN Tag Team Championship. They lost the titles in controversial circumstances. Indeed, I believe they were pinned while their feet were quite clearly on the ropes. And in fact, it was that official, referee Chris Roberts, who made the Highness cover.
Shut up, Essex! You're looking at the prettiest two Leicester boys in the whole of the United Kingdom. We are your LDN British Tag Team Champions.
Oh,
we are Hot Property, baby.
Who gave that bloke a mic?
Now, unfortunately, Project Future, we are unable to compete tonight. I have a strained tendon disc in my lower back, and my doctor has told me I cannot compete with an STD. So, unfortunately, thank you for coming. We're still your champs. Have a safe journey home.
Well, just 1 second.
Stay in your seats.
Well, wrestling fans being warned to stay in their seats because Project Future aren't taking no for an answer. And they are fighting by the stage, they're fighting up the ramp, they're fighting amongst the fans. And I think that this, oh my goodness, a moonsault off the ramp. A moonsault off the ramp from Bobby Hostile. And I think we have got ourselves a tornado tag match anyway. I think Chris Bothaway was chancing his arm a little bit. We certainly didn't see any doctor's note produced. And already this tag team tornado contest is every bit as wild as we thought it might be. Chris Bothaway, not the most sure-footed of athletes here in LDN, finds himself in the wrong end of town. Splash from Ricardo Young. Irish whip from Bobby Hostile. And fans, these guys want their championship back so much, they will go to any lengths to get it. And I don't know what's happened to Jamie James. I think when that fight went to the outside, James took quite a beating. And in fact, yeah, you can see him now. He's only just made his way back to the ring area. And you can see Project Future, they are double teaming Jamie James now. But in the context of this Tornado tag team matchup, it is perfectly legal. And indeed, all 4 men are allowed in the ring at any one time. And Chris Bothaway needs to get back in there to help out his partner. A long and storied rivalry between these 4 men. And this contest is very personal indeed. Project Future want their championship back. They'll do anything to get it. And indeed, this Tornado tag team matchup might just suit them down to the ground. They've got a number of great double team maneuvers. This looks like one of them, but Jamie James clips the knee. He clips the knee of Ricardo Young, and both men are down. And my goodness, it looked like Ricardo Young was all set to give his own tag team partner. He was about to throw him onto Chris Bothaway, and instead his knee was clipped by Jamie James, and instead both of Project Future land hard on the floor. And this is a wild matchup. We just might see anything here tonight. We have already seen a moonsault off the stage area. And Project Future, renowned for putting their bodies on the line. And Hot Property, famous for doing whatever it takes to hold on to that championship. So fans, you've got 4 men here who are willing to do anything, including fighting on the outside, including, is that a pair of fluffy handcuffs? That is a pair of handcuffs. They are handcuffing, they have handcuffed Ricardo Young to the turnbuckle, and that is quite an adept strategy here in a Tornado tag match. All 4 men are allowed in the ring at once, but if you take one of those men out of the matchup, if you handcuff him to the side, then you have got a 2-on-1, a clear stretch. And fans, this contest has been absolutely non-stop action so far. Bobby Hostile finds himself alone against Top Property. Does his best to fight him off, but it's 2-on-1. And there's only so much one man can do against 2. Great drop kick, Russian leg sweep combination there. And here's a cover. And Bobby kicking out, and you can see Ricardo Young, he is just giving out some encouragement while he tries to break out of those handcuffs. And that seems to be pretty much all he can do, is getting this capacity crowd behind Bobby Hostile. But whether or not that is enough to get Project Future back into this matchup remains to be seen. And what a show we have got for you here tonight. We're kicking things off with this fantastic Tornado tag match. The action is absolutely wild. But folks, you are going to want to stay tuned, because coming up next we have got the first semi-final in the Golden Grapplers tournament. And if you have enjoyed the wild wrestling action you have seen here, you are going to love what you've got in store coming up next. A Spirit Rules matchup. The first semi-final of the Golden Grapplers tournament. And Bobby Hostile is fighting back. But 2-on-1 is just too much room to overcome. Fans, the matchup here tonight was scheduled to be Yorghos against Mikey Mendoza. Here's a cover from Hostile, and he very nearly pulled off an upset there. As I was saying, Danny Garnell really piled on the beating over Mikey Mendoza. Mendoza won his quarterfinal matchup. He was set to face Yorghos here tonight. However, he received a concussion that he exacerbated in the week. He has not received medical clearance to compete. And Danny Garnell rather held LDN matchmakers to ransom here tonight. And indeed, stuck for a suitable opponent for Yorghos. They have put Garnell in the tournament. And so Danny Garnell goes straight into the semi-finals, and he faces Yorghos, and that's coming up later tonight. Big DDT there from Chris Bothaway might be enough to put Bobby Hostile away, but somehow Hostile kicks out. So fans, we have got a very rich tag team division here at the moment in LDN. Hot Property, your champions. Project Future, the challengers, doing all they can here in a wild tornado matchup against a capacity crowd here in Grays. And we are going to see a DDT. Oh my, a big pile driver. A big pile driver from Bothaway. And Bobby Hostile landed on the flat of his head. And still just a 2 count. And still Ricardo Young looks on in utter desperation from the corner post. He has been handcuffed. He has been handcuffed and he is just wrenching away. I don't think he's going to be able to break a pair of handcuffs. And so in this tornado matchup, Hot Property are quite legally able to double team. But he has, hang on, Ricardo Young, I don't know how, but Ricardo Young has indeed broken that pair of handcuffs. And he is there in the nick of time, because we were about to see a spike pile driver from Hot Property, and that would surely have put Bobby Hostile away. But now Ricardo Young is back in the contest. And a beautiful drop kick there. Takes Bothaway down. Jamie James on the outside of the ring. Makes his way back into the matchup. But Ricardo Young is on fire. A fall-away slam. And Ricardo Young is furious. He has been watching this matchup for the last 5 or 6 minutes, utterly incapacitated, and he wants his revenge. Nice side neck breaker there. Jamie James looks on, tries to break up the fall, and he gets in the nick of time. Bobby Hostile, who has taken the beating, looks to get back into things, and we are going to see something special from Project Future. One of their patented double team maneuvers. Up and down. And they are just twisting Jamie James in half. This is a stereo Boston Crab-like maneuver. Both men wrenching back on a leg, but they can't see Chris Bothaway with the ring bell. And it's no disqualification, so anything goes. Bothaway's he's taken out Bobby Hostile, but he gets caught. But it's second time unlucky. Jamie James with the ring bell. A double cover. Here it is, and a 3. And in a tag team tornado matchup, no disqualification, anything goes. Hot Property use the ring bell.
Winners of the match, and still LDN Tag Team Champions, Hot Property.
Hot Property using the ringside bell there to retain the championships another day. The fans here disgusted, but quite frankly, it was totally legal in the context of a tornado tag team matchup. Even the handcuffs were legal. And quite frankly, for a tornado matchup where anything goes, in my opinion, Project Future, as good as they were underprepared. They should have known exactly what Hot Property would be going to do. They started off in a great way. They were brawling among the crowds. We saw a beautiful moonsault from the stage area. But they didn't take into account the dirty tactics that in this matchup were perfectly legal. The ring bell, the handcuffs, the double team maneuvers. And indeed, Hot Property, they might not be deserving champions, but they did deservedly win this matchup, and it's back to the drawing board for Project Future. Folks, coming up next, the first semi-final of the Golden Gravelers Tournament Spirit Rules matchup. Danny Garnell against Yorghos. Don't go anywhere.
Let's do it now. Gonna straight get it hot to a new sound. Pump it up, subsonic in the background. Let's do it now. Hot to a new sound. Pump it up, subsonic in the background. Gonna straight get it hot to a new sound. Pump it up, subsonic in the background. Do it now. Straight get it hot to a new sound. Pump it up, subsonic in the background. Gonna straight get it hot to a new sound. Pump it up, subsonic in the background. Let's do it now. Hot to a new sound. Pump it up, subsonic in the background. Gonna straight get it hot to a new sound. Pump it up, subsonic in the background. Do it now. Straight get it hot to a new sound. Pump it up, subsonic in the background. Let's do it now.
London. This is London.
Hi, I'm Fiona Fox and welcome to this week's edition of the London Eye. The Golden Grapplers tournament is really starting to hot up here on Capital TV, and this week the semi-finals finally get underway. Unfortunately, the matchup that was due to take place later tonight, Mike Mendoza versus Yorghos, will now not be happening, thanks to the actions of one Danny Garnell on a recent episode of Capital TV. After defeating Corrupt in his first round matchup, Mendoza was challenged by Garnell to put his position in the tournament up for grabs. Not one to back down from a challenge, Mike Mendoza readily agreed and went on to defeat Garnell to keep his place in the semi-finals.
These are dangerous days.
Enraged, Garnell snapped, ambushing Mendoza after the match and giving him a serious concussion. Despite being in and out of doctors' offices all week, Mendoza has not received medical clearance to compete here tonight. Held to ransom, LDN matchmakers felt they had no choice but to give Garnell Mendoza's spot in the tournament. Although Garnell has been fined for his attack on Mendoza, it would appear that, in the short term at least, crime does pay. That's all for me here at the London Eye. Let's go back to John Atkins at ringside for more action.
Are you sure you're ready?
Yes, indeed, wrestling fans, main event time here tonight on LDN Capital TV. And making his way out to the ring now, the ever-popular Mediterranean sensation, Yorghos. He is a real fan favourite wherever he goes. And here tonight, he is taking on Danny Garnell in the first semi-final of the Golden Grapplers tournament. Every matchup in the tournament to be fought under Spirit rules, and we will have a full and concise explanation of those rules from our ring announcer Steve Litton very shortly. The wrestling fans, Yorghos now making his way to the ring, and the fans very much behind him. And he is going to be taking on Danny Garnell, not Mikey Mendoza, who we were expecting to see here tonight. Unfortunately, Mikey Mendoza still suffering the after effects of a concussion that he suffered at the hands of Danny Garnell. He has not received medical clearance to compete here tonight. And basically, after holding LDN matchmakers to ransom, he has been granted Mendoza's place in the tournament. Fans, I will discuss that in depth in a moment. But here comes Danny Garnell. And indeed, Danny Garnell has not been in LDN for too long, but already he is really making some waves, and not necessarily in the best ways. Mike Mendoza, of course, beat Corrupt in the first quarter-final to kick off the entire Golden Grapplers tournament a couple of months ago here in Capital TV. We saw just a couple of weeks ago here on Capital TV, Garnell, bold as brass, walked straight up to Mendoza and said, "I want your place in the tournament. Give me your spot in the Golden Grapplers tournament." Mendoza said, "I'll fight you for it." He is a fighting man. He never backs down from a challenge. And indeed, Mendoza did beat Garnell. And Garnell looked to have lost his opportunity to get into the tournament. But being the bad sport that he is, he attacked, he ambushed Mikey Mendoza after the matchup. And that is where Mendoza suffered the concussion. He has been in and out of the doctor's office for the last fortnight.
The following contest is a second round Golden Grappler tournament match made over a 30-minute time limit. That's 6 5-minute rounds with 2 falls, 2 submissions, or a knockout to decide the winner. Introducing first on my right from Woolwich in London, weighing in at 15 stone, 3 pounds, Danny Garnell. And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent on my left originally hailing from Athens in Greece, weighing in at 14 stone, 6 pounds, Yorghos Christopoulos.
Very clear indeed who the crowd's favourite is here tonight in greys. And Danny Garnell without a friend in the world. And I think that suits him just fine. He's made it pretty clear he's not an LDN to win friends. He is here to win matches and hopefully to win the Golden Grapplers tournament. 6 5-minute rounds. A true World of Sport style matchup. Spirit rules, you will only see it here on LDN Capital TV. And this is the first semi-final of the Golden Grapplers tournament. And Danny Garnell attempting to intimidate the official. Really just throwing his weight around. Collar and elbow tie-up to start the matchup. And Garnell forcing Yorghos back into the corner. And I've got to say I am surprised about that, because when it comes to pure basic wrestling, there are very few in the entire LDN promotion who can out-wrestle Yorghos. He has got a Greek background, and of course it is the Greeks who invented Greco-Roman wrestling. And Yorghos backing Garnell into that corner there. Another lock-up in the middle of the ring. Yorghos wrestles Garnell to the mat, Garnell to the ropes, the hold is broken. And fans, as I was saying before this matchup started, Mikey Mendoza has been in and out of the doctor's office for the last fortnight. He has been unable to shake the effects of the concussion that was given to him by Danny Garnell. And unfortunately, he did not receive medical clearance to compete here tonight. And as such, he has had to unfortunately forfeit his position in the Golden Grapplers tournament. And so, despite the fact that he did defeat Danny Garnell and indeed corrupt to well and truly earn his place in the semi-finals, LDN officials and matchmakers found themselves rather held to ransom by Garnell. The matchup had to take place here tonight, and Garnell was granted, under duress, Mikey Mendoza's spot. He may well be fined for his actions and for the concussion that he gave Mike Mendoza. But in the short term at least, crime has paid for Garnell, as LDN matchmakers felt they had no alternative but to put him in this matchup, in this semi-final matchup against Yorghos. And Garnell will be looking to make the most of this opportunity, as indeed will Yorghos. The other semi-final bracket, as we will see, is Steve Gray against Johnny Kidd. And that matchup is going to be one for the ages. Two World of Sport legends will face each other in a Spirit Rules matchup. 6 rounds, 5 minutes each, 2 falls, a submission or a knockout to win, in 2 weeks' time here on Capital TV. And I think at the beginning of the tournament, either man could have been considered the favourite to win. Steve Gray, a legend, he has been wrestling for longer than I have been alive. And Johnny Kidd, very nearly the same. However, they are set to clash in a semi-final. Who will they face? Will it be Yorghos? Will it be Danny Garnell? On the strength of this first round, it is impossible to call. Both men very, very evenly based, and I'm impressed by the technical skills being displayed by Garnell. Yorghos, of course, with that rich Greek heritage. But Garnell doing very well indeed. And I would personally like to say get well soon to Mikey Mendoza. We look forward to having you back here on LDN very, very soon. Oh, here's a cover from Yorghos. And I think just a 2 count. And the round continues. And I am sure that if Mikey Mendoza is watching, he would be delighted to see Yorghos win this matchup. get some small measure of revenge for the attack that he suffered at the hands of Garnell. And I'm sure when Mendoza makes his return to LDN, hopefully very, very soon, we know he will have his sights set very firmly, very squarely on Garnell. Garnell really wrestling a great matchup here. We are only in the first round and he is doing very well indeed. And you have to wonder why he so often resorts to using underhanded tactics and post-match sneak attacks and threatening and intimidating officials. He seems to have an awful lot of tools and basic scientific wrestling ability. A big chop there. Why does he feel the need to take it to that other level when he really doesn't need to, I would say? Well, this first round comes to an end and the wrestlers are separated. They go back to their corners. And they're going to take a short breather.
This is London. This is London.
I'm Lloyd Ryan, and this is the original Kendo Nagasaki. And you're watching LDN Capital TV on channel 427.
At the end of that round, I've got to say that Danny Garnell looks fresher than Yorghos. Ring announcer Steve Litton calls for the second round though. And Yorghos back, he puts his game face back on. And a nice lock up there. Garnell gets the upper hand, takes Yorghos down to the mat this time. Danny Garnell possibly looking for a submission. I'm not sure he's going to get it. Nonetheless, a nice chin lock there from Garnell. But the fans really rallying behind Yorghos, and he is already back up to one knee. He resumes a vertical base, backs Garnell off into the ropes, whips him across the ring, but Garnell with a shoulder barge. Sends Yorghos down, Yorghos with a leapfrog, and a beautiful, beautiful drop kick there from Yorghos. And that might be enough to turn the complexion of the match around. A 500 capacity crowd here in Grays, solidly behind Yorghos, and really getting on the case of Danny Garnell. And Garnell just might be starting to wish that he did have a friend he could turn to. There's only so far you can get in this world by burning bridges. And that is a lesson that the arrogant youngster Danny Garnell is going to have to learn the hard way. And we might see a count out here. Well, Garnell trying to pull the seat away from our ring announcer. Absolutely despicable behaviour there. If there's one thing I can't stand in wrestling, it is intimidating non-wrestlers. There is absolutely no call for it. And frankly, Garnell may already be facing a fine, or possibly worse, for his post-match attack on Mikey Mendoza here a couple of weeks ago on Capital TV. And he was very lucky indeed, to be placed into the semi-final here against Yorghos in the Golden Grapplers tournament. Yorghos looking to break out of this one. And a very, very conventional escape there. The Golden Grapplers tournament, of course, fought under Spirit rules. Round matches. Very reminiscent of the days of the world of sport. Yorghos grew up watching that kind of thing. He's got a great grounding in Greco-Roman wrestling. Danny Garnell, likewise. And of course, in the other semi-final, Steve Gray and Johnny Kidd both are bona fide world of sport legends. So this Golden Grapplers tournament really bringing an air of legitimacy and a real sense of pride and heritage here in LDN. And whether it's Garnell, whether it's Yorghos, whether it's Steve Gray, whether it's Johnny Kidd, the winner really will be deserving of the title. And Danny Garnell has got those legs locked. And he is just applying extra pressure to Yorghos' ankle. And I'm not sure what Yorghos' strategy is here. He's looking towards, I think he's trying to reach the ropes. If he can reach the ropes, then of course the hold will be broken. If he can flip it over, the pressure will be reversed and Garnell will be suffering from the move. And indeed he might just try and sit it out and wait for the bell to ring. I think he is trying to flip it over, and he does, and now Garnell is in agony, but he is very close to the ropes. And lucky for Danny Garnell, he was right by those ropes. Yorghos used pure strength to reverse that leg lock, putting the pressure on the knees, on the knee joints of Danny Garnell, and very lucky for Garnell, he was right by those ropes. If he had suffered that move for any longer, he might have suffered some ligament or tendon damage. Suplex into a cover there from Yorghos. And in the second round, it is still 0-0. Garnell back up to his feet, atomic drop there. And there's no call for a move like that. And just working over that left knee now. Garnell, I think, he has sensed the weakness of Yorghos. Oh, and he just slams it into the canvas. Just grinding that knee joint. I think the damage was done in that leg lock that he had on. And now Garnell, like a shark that can smell blood, he is going to do whatever it takes to put Yorghos away. And you can see he has removed, he has lowered that. Well, there's the end of the second round, it's still 0-0. And you can see the protective clothing has been removed from the left knee of Yorghos. I'm not sure if Garnell moved it to get a clear shot at the knee, or Yorghos removed it to relieve some of the pressure. But either way, Yorghos does not want that knee to be exposed going into the third round. The midway point of the matchup. And still, we are yet to see a full. And this is an absolutely classic contest. Two of the top young stars in LDN. The clean-cut good guy Yorghos. And the rather arrogant and unpleasant Danny Garnell. But say what you like about him, he is holding his own against Yorghos. And there, hang on, there was a hair pull. There was a hair pull, and the referee must have seen that one. But so far, Garnell and Yorghos very evenly matched. And one has got to fill for Mikey Mendoza, because this would have been a great opportunity for Mendoza to really show what he's made of. Yorghos goes upstairs, here's the roll-up, and just a 2 count. And in the third round of the matchup, we are going to be looking for a pinfall soon. Someone is going to want to get that advantage. Garnell whipping Yorghos across. Yorghos reverses. Nice arm drag. And a second one, and Garnell is down. And I think it would mean so much to Yorghos to win this matchup. And indeed to win the tournament. Here's a cover. A beautiful combination there. And Yorghos gets a 3. And in the third round, Yorghos goes up 1-0 against Danny Garnell. And the fans go wild. Take a look at this. Fans fans, I don't believe it. We have got to go to a break, but this matchup will continue. Don't go anywhere.
This is London. This is London.
Round 4.
And that is going to, well, if anything can dampen the excessive confidence of Danny Garnell, I think it's going to be going a full down to Yorghos in round 3. But he comes out fighting, and you've got to respect that. Big scoop slam there from Garnell. Comes off the ropes and drops the elbow. And Garnell wasting no time at all looking for the cover. Gets a 2 count. Goes again a second time. Yorghos just able to bridge out. And of course, the winner of this match will progress to the finals of the Golden Grappler tournament. And they will get to face a bona fide World of Sport legend, be it Steve Gray, be it Johnny Kidd. Both of those men, household names back when World of Sport was in the top of the ratings, when it was a top-rated show, when people stopped what they were doing at 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon to watch the wrestling. Steve Gray and Johnny Kidd. Big names. And Yorghos or Danny Garnell will get to face one of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, round 4. First public warning to Danny Garnell.
Well, Danny Garnell deservedly there with a public warning. And he's got to be careful. He does not want to get himself disqualified in round 4, because there won't be any way back for him. He is already down 1 full. Oh, kick to the back. And that is very unsportsmanlike. Yorghos was in the ropes. He was facing the other way, and that is most unsporting of Garnell. And totally and utterly at odds with the whole concept of the Golden Grapplers tournament, which is about good sportsmanship and pure, solid professional wrestling. Both of those things Garnell can do in abundance, but he so often chooses not to do. Inside cradle there from Garnell, 2 count on Yorghos. And in round 4, Garnell is playing catch-up. Yorghos stops the clothesline, comes off with a beautiful cross-body, and he might have this matchup 2 falls to nothing. But Garnell kicks out. Garnell with a big elbow to the skull of Yorghos. Chops him into the ropes. And fans, LDN Capital TV really is the place to be at the moment. Next week, right here on Capital TV, we will see the notorious hard man from the East End of London, John Ritchie, the LDN champion. He's going to defend against a man who has been chasing him for several months, Tex Benedict. Benedict finally getting that shot at the champion next week here on Capital TV. Plus, Exodus, a man who has to be seen to be believed. Fans, you are not going to want to miss that. Same time, same place, here on TWC Fight, Capital TV. Yorghos now fighting back, goes over the top with a double leg Nelson, hooks the arms, there's a cover, and Garnell rolling through. And a kick to the face. And I don't think the referee saw that, because if he did, I think he would be having very stern words with Garnell. Beautiful fisherman suplex. And Garnell with a cover, but you can see Yorghos clutching his face. And he may have busted his nose there from that kick to the face. So it's 1 fall apiece at the end of round 4. Just 2 rounds left for one man to win the matchup.
Equalising for Danny Garnell.
And Garnell looks pleased as punch. The referee reminding the wrestlers they're going into round 5. Round 5, two rounds remaining. Both wrestlers with 1 fall to their credit. It is 1-1. The next fall will decide everything. At stake, a place in the final of the Golden Grapplers tournament. And Garnell and Yorghos do not want to get sidetracked into playing this kind of game. at this stage in the matchup. But I think that shows a weakness on the part of Danny Garnell. Garnell makes a big, oh, here's a roll-up. 1, 2, and Yorghos had the shoulders down for 3, but the referee correctly spotted Garnell had reached the ropes. And as I said, Garnell makes a big deal, a big display of not caring if you like him or you hate him. But he was showing some real insecurity there. He doesn't want to get into a popularity contest with Yorghos, because that is a matchup that he can't win. Kick to the guts, knocking the wind out of Yorghos, whipped across the ring. Yorghos puts the brake on. Garnell looking for that abdominal stretch, and he gets it, and he might get a submission. Yorghos screaming in pain, and now the referee can't see that Garnell is on the ropes, and Garnell getting that extra leverage. And I can tell you that the abdominal stretch is a painful maneuver in its own right. The extra leverage of an arm on the ropes, and Garnell might well get the submission. The referee suspects, but he hasn't seen it, and he cannot call what he does not see. And Garnell knows that better than anyone, but this time the referee does see it, and he kicks Garnell's arms off the ropes himself, and rightly so. And Yorghos just flips Garnell over. Garnell struggling to his feet, a power slam from Yorghos. And that just might be enough. We are in round 5, it's 1 fall apiece. Yorghos charges into the corner. Monkey flip across the ring. Garnell in trouble. And a second monkey flip there from Yorghos. Into the corner, goes for it a 3rd time, and that's too many. And that may have been a mistake from Yorghos. He got so carried away there. Perhaps he should have gone for the cover. Perhaps he should have gone for a big slam. But he ties back both of the arms of Garnell into the bridge, and he gets it in round 5. Yorghos is going through to the final of the Golden Grapplers tournament. He defeats Danny Garnell.
Round 5, winner of the match by 2 falls to 1, Yorghos Christopoulos.
He is going through to the final of the Golden Grapplers tournament. In 2 weeks' time, we will find out, will he face Steve Gray? Will he face Johnny Kidd? Only here on Capital TV will you find that out. But for now, these celebrations must lie with Yorghos. He has defeated Garnell. He has partially avenged Mikey Mendoza's assault. And he is dancing with referee Chris Roberts. Garnell, for the 2nd time, he wrestled a good match, but for the 2nd time, he is unable to progress in the Golden Grapplers tournament. Folks, what a great episode of Capital TV this has been. We have seen a wild and crazy tornado tag team matchup. We have seen Yorghos progress to the finals of the Golden Grapplers tournament. Championship is on the line as John Ritchie defends against Tex Benedict. Fans, stay tuned to LDN Capital TV. My name is Mr. TV John Atkins. Good night. Next week here on LDN Capital TV, the Monster Exodus in action. Plus, notorious John Ritchie, the LDN British Heavyweight Champion, defends his belt against London, Arizona's own Tex Benedict.